Hello. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day today. I know I am, because my computer's finally working again. Can I click back into Hollow Knight? Yes, I can. And I mean, there's only one thing to do, and that is drop down to Pantheon 4 and probably make it to Pale Vessel, or Pure Vessel, 20 times in a row, and lose to Pure Vessel, 20 times in a row. Feels like about how it's gonna go. Because there's not much else to do. Off to a great start. That was... I have beaten this boss hitless before. Yeah, I have beaten Crystal Guardian hitless, and I definitely haven't warmed up today. But let's just not count that first attempt. Yeah, let's just not count that first attempt, because that didn't go particularly well. Okay, now here we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, yeah, that's a bit of a better start. Really? I'm gonna get hit by the ceiling lasers after I beat the boss. Really, we're playing that game today. There are, prior to Pure Vessel, there are a couple of bosses that are gonna probably give me some level of difficulty, and which would be Lost Kin, especially Watcher Knights. Yeah, Lost Kin, especially Watcher Knights, gives me a lot of trouble, and then Soul Tyrant occasionally gives me trouble as well. I at least know which bosses are going to give me problems. Ah, yes. Though, I suppose my biggest issue is going to be the fact that it's Watcher Knight, Soul Tyrant, Pure Vessel. That trio is going to give me a definitely non-zero amount of trouble. Also, every time I try to go up and get no eyes when they're up high, I get absolutely destroyed by... them. Because, I know how to beat a lot of these bosses, at least somewhat consistently. My charm build is basically how much nail speed and damage can I do. I think it's Long Nail, Mark of Pride, Quick Slash, Unbreakable Strength. Just because that's what I was practicing with without realizing it. So, I know I can beat all the bosses with that specific build. And I know all my timings for hitting bosses off that very, very specific charm build, so I'm hesitant to change it. I'll double check my charm build here. Yeah, that. Probably not optimal, but it works. Yeah, chunks Watcher's HP when Death's Dive. It does. It really does. Well, Watcher Knight's my current strategy is to damage tank and then hope I can recover before the next boss. Which is much less of a strategy and much more of just hope with zero basis. Which is a strategy. I don't remember where the bench was. Was the bench after Traitor Lord? No, the bench was after White Defender. Who I only lost to once when I was practicing for today. Though that could definitely change. Yeah, that definitely could change Because I haven't practiced several of these bosses in a couple of days, because I was focusing on getting to the point where I could at least occasionally beat Pure Vessel. That is called how to not do White Defender correctly. Ah, yes, I should go stand in my corner and heal up a little bit. I've noticed that standing in the corner on White Defender is a surprisingly effective strategy. Because I just need to survive White Defender, and there should be a bench now? If I'm not misremembering the ordering for Pantheon 4. I've only ever made it to Pure Vessel in Pantheon 4 the one time I did it during practice to unlock Pure Vessel to, I have all the charms. Literally the last thing in the entire game I haven't completed would be Pantheon 4, and I guess Pantheon 5, but that doesn't count for a completion percentage. So if it's a vanilla charm, I have it. Yeah, I do have Carefree Melody. Though, I do like this combo, just because I know I can beat... I know I can beat all the bosses with this combo. Am I going to lose to Failed Champion? I haven't done that in a while. Yeah, I haven't lost a Failed Champion in quite a while, so that would be rather embarrassing to do. Because they're not actually that difficult of a boss. Yeah, Failed Champion is... It feels a little bit like Gamma if you're using it also. That is fair enough. I probably should have Dream-nailed Failed Champ there. I probably should have Dream-nailed Failed Champ for the extra health before I attacked them, but I suppose that works. Okay, I think next up is... No, next up is Markarth. I always forget that this is a boss. My strategy is to just not go up on the platforms, which I know won't work if I ever do Pantheon 5 attempts. But it works for now. And there's definitely a level of just trying to stay consistent. Yeah, there's a difference between me trying to do things nicely and do things consistently. Yeah, luckily this is only Pantheon 4. So there is ground for me to just cheese him by standing on for ever. Though also, these attacks are a little bit annoying. You banished Grim in your 5th save file recently, 112 of your main save file last month. Yeah, I've done it in the training arena unsuccessfully. If there's a boss other than Pure Vessel I'm going to mess up on, it's most likely going to be Watcher Knights. Because I just have a hard time tracking both of them. Yeah, I just have a hard time with 2 bosses. And my strategy is basically to damage tank the middle chunk as best I can, and then hope I can heal before Soul Tyrant. Which is much less strategy and much more just a bad idea, but that was the most consistent method I came up with for myself during my practice attempts. Because yeah, it at least gets me through the boss. Yeah, who agreed to give them no floor in Pantheon 5? I don't know, but I'd like to have a word with them. I promise it's going to be a friendly word. I promise I'll be friendly. I did mess up Soul Tyrant a couple of times in practice as well, which is more because my strategy for fighting Soul Tyrant semi-consistently just takes absolutely forever, though I suppose every time I messed up Soul Tyrant was their phase, or their, like, second phase and not their first phase. Which is a little bit embarrassing, because I just mess up occasionally, like, get out of sync on their next phase diving. I am taking more damage than I realistically should be for Soul Tyrant right now. I'm going to expect it's going to take me probably 10 to 15 tries to beat Pure Vessel. That's going to be my... Based off of how consistently, or I guess not consistently, I can beat them in practice. I'm going to give them 10 to 15 tries in Pantheon. Ancient Primal Aspid when? Hopefully never. Because yeah, Soul Tyrant I'm at least somewhat consistent on. But yeah, my current consistency is about 1 in 15, 1 in 20 on Pure Vessel. I keep calling them Pale Vessel, and I also called them Pale King mentally when I was practicing more than once. They're not the Pale King. I suppose they are technically related. NKG? I have not beaten NKG. I suppose that's another boss I haven't beaten. That and Absrad, but... Please spawn somewhere useful. That is borderline not somewhere useful. Can I get them fast enough? I can beat them fast enough. But yeah. And then I've beaten Pure Vessel exactly 5 times in practice. Show reverence, O meager one. Show fear. That's definitely something I'm going to show. Thou approacheth a great and terrible god. Though its worldly body be bound and defiled, the glory of its pure form endures. Ruler of this pantheon, its endless power shall attune us to the one greater still, a god of gods. Meager one, dost thou imagine thyself the equal of this god? Dost thou imagine thyself made in its image? Thou assume a similar shape, and the deep echo within thee seems familiar. Ah, what thoughts are these? Thou sow blasphemies in our mind. Wretch, begone. We pray that the god of nothingness silence thee forever. The Shade Lord. Because yeah, this is... I'm mentally letting my heart rate calm down a little bit from getting to this point. This is the one that's most likely to give me major difficulties and take a lot of attempts. Because occasionally Pure Vessel just absolutely wrecks me. Though I do know my strategy. Yeah, I do have my strategy for Pure Vessel, which does at least more off, or is at least slightly consistent. Yeah, it's at least marginally consistent. That was not a good heal. That is one of the problems with my strategy, is occasionally I do misread an attack and take damage. But also I just need to stay calm and don't freak out. That is key. Because I'm not dead till I'm dead. And I always need to focus on healing. I'm going to assume he's going to either parry or not. Watch me get this first try. That would be hilarious, but also the first time I've ever gotten them more than once in a row. Okay. Do not freak out. Honestly, I do think that talking with chat does help me with a lot of these difficult bosses. Apparently, a practice pays off. That was the first time I've ever done a back-to-back win on Pure Vessel, because I technically beat them once right before this. Oh, God. Practice does work. I had not seen that cutscene before. That was... At some point I do want to beat Pantheon 5, but I am, I'll go show you my Hall of Gods here in a second. It is not at all Pantheon 5 level. I expected that to take a couple more attempts than it did. Yeah, that's about how good I've, managed to play things. Which is not particularly great, if I'm being completely honest. Because I do still legitimately want to beat Pantheon 5 at some point. And I also need to beat the Pantheons with bindings. I do know what the other bosses are, at least. I did not realize that. I'm guessing that's Absolute Radiance up there, because I do know what the bosses are. I don't know how to activate this. I don't know how to activate that. Which is probably a little bit amusing. Can I dream nail it? No. Huh. Do you need to do bindings to unlock Pantheon 5? I legitimately have no clue. Because I have... Also, my completion percentage is at 112%. Because I am definitely going to be out of practice for the other Pantheons. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be out of practice for the other Pantheons, just because I... Yeah, if you want Lifeblood Cocoons, it helps a lot. The thing is, apparently I'm missing something to unlock Pantheon 5, because, that does not appear to be functional. Yeah, that does not appear to be functional right now. And, or am I, like, missing a boss? I don't know. I don't know. Because I also know that for a fact that I've never beaten NKG. And I have apparently 6 wins on Pure Vessel now. Honestly, I can probably... I can try it with a binding. This is probably not going to go very well because I haven't fought a lot of these bosses in... I don't know how long. So some of these bosses I probably haven't fought in like a year and a half, if I'm going to be completely honest. Though I do vaguely remember how most of them work. Yeah, Net Nail's the easiest. You know how to access Pantheon 5? I don't. Yeah, I definitely do not know how to do that. How to actually get into it. Because I mean, my first Pantheon 4 win was apparently first try today. Yeah, I would definitely appreciate knowing how to actually access it, because that's legitimately something I'm not sure on. Yeah, nail binding I figure is probably going to be the easiest, but also doing a couple of bindings is probably going to be helpful. The fact that I'm taking 3 damage off of Vengefly is a little bit sad. Yeah, go ahead and tell me. That's not something I'd consider a notable spoiler. That is a... This is like the most embarrassing Vengefly King attempt ever. Charm Binding's a pain. Well, I mean, I've never done any of the bindings before either, outside of like maybe like one binding that I played at one point for fun. And probably made it like 2 bosses in if I had to guess. Also, apparently the chat box is not working today. I suppose I should probably actually use spells if my nail's not doing that much damage, because Abyss Shriek does a lot of damage. Yeah, Abyss Shriek being a damage powerhouse is probably something I want to take advantage of more than I was. Yeah, because today was also like at least half a test stream. Disables all the charms unless you just use one. That's fair enough. But yeah, part of today's stream job was to just be a test stream because I had to set up an entire new computer. Just Void Heart. Okay, come on. You're not actually that strong. You're not actually that strong. Okay, I forgot that you have that attack. I forgot that he sends out like that horizontal shockwave with his attacks. Oh, come on. Am I really taking damage from False Knight? They're not even a difficult boss. Okay. Because I haven't fought some of these bosses in like a year and a half. Because like I did a randomizer a couple of months ago. And then I did practice for the Pantheon 4 bosses, which apparently worked. Pet the Moss Charger. Happy Moss Charger. Maybe sad Moss Charger. I'm embarrassed I took a damage there. I don't normally get hit on that. Or that's one of the like 3 bosses I've done hitless. Granted, I suppose I did 100% Silksong between last time I really played Hollow Knight and this time, so I've probably gotten a little bit better at how these games' mechanics work. I say as I take multiple hits to Hornet 1. I suppose that at least half of them are just me not actually paying attention to what attacks they're throwing out. Right, I can do more than one heal at a time. Okay, there we go. There we go. I am going to quickly check what the chat box is doing. That it's breaking. Okay, I know exactly what's broken on the chat box. That's something I'll have to fix before next stream, though. Yeah. I think I do like, or would prefer playing Hollow Knight go up. Too late. I saw that message as soon as I walked through the door. Yeah, so the tool I use for the chat box is one that I wrote myself because none of the other ones were consistent for YouTube chat. Which was mildly annoying. So I wrote my own, and I forgot to install Python onto this computer. It uses Python to connect to the YouTube API, and I may or may not have forgotten to install that. Okay, let's ascend Gorb real quick, though. Gorb, I think, is an embarrassing one to lose. Would be an embarrassing one to die to. Also, I think I've only ever beaten the Nail Masters one time, or actually 2 times each. Yeah, Pantheon at Night is 8 out of 10 difficulty. That room I was in 2 seconds ago is outside Pantheon. Interesting. Interesting. I did not realize that. Come on. Come on. Given how consistently I can beat White Defender, Dung Defender should not be a problem for me. I know I can sometimes bounce them around like a basketball. I should also definitely use my spells more than I have been. This is a long-time running joke, is that I just constantly forget how to use spells. I just constantly forget how to use spells. Or to use spells. I know how to use them, I just never remember that they even exist. Which is mildly problematic. Yeah, if I use Descending Dark Wings Underground, I can make them come out. Yeah. That's another one of the things I'm like, I know that's technically a mechanic, but also every time I try to do that, I take, like, an absurd amount of damage. Because, yeah, I figure I want the stream to go a little bit longer than... What would that be? Oh, right, this guy's technically considered a boss. Watch me die to Soul Warrior of all bosses. That would be... I think I would have to go hide in shame if that happened. The boss that I always forget is a boss. Really? Really? I'm gonna take more damage to Soul Warrior than like half of Pantheon 1. Oh gosh, I'm actually running a risk of dying now. That's mildly embarrassing. Yeah, he's just annoying. Oh right, Moloch. Moloch. This is, at least I have dash. For whatever dash is worth. I may not beat Pantheon 1 with the nail binding. Solely from just not remembering how half of this works. I know that Descending Dark does a lot of damage to Moloch. Oh shoot, really? That's unfortunate. I still don't know how to... I still don't think I saw any message on how to actually open Pantheon 5. Because, it's definitely still locked. That's definitely still a locked door of some variety. Use Clawline. There is not Clawline. Ah, shoot. I don't know why I immediately jumped back into Pantheon 1 before I waited for an answer. Yeah, there is no Clawline. Slightly wrong game. A slightly wrong game there. Though I'm slightly embarrassed I died to Moloch of all bosses. Moloch is not exactly a difficult boss to win against with dash. I beat them with like 5 health and no nail upgrades. I beat him like with 5 health and my only upgrade being Descending Dark. Yeah, Mantis Claw. Mantis Claw's fair. Oh, go up to where that light was coming from when I walked up to Pantheon, where the Pantheon unlocked initially. Because I saw a light come from like the top left corner. Yeah, we all died at one point to Moloch. Gotcha. I'll do that after what is gonna inevitably another probably not successful attempt of Pantheon 1 with the nail binding. I'm not sure why I double jumped there instead of single jumping. I like how even with the nail binding, the little minions still die, like, instantly. You guys also said something about going up in the bench room? And I want to check what that was about also. Beat Pantheon 5 back on March 2025 and haven't had to play since. Got so you can no longer beat Abzrad. I've never even played against Abzrad. so you're already doing better than me. I've also never actually beaten NKG. I know that they're in Pantheon 5. And I do want to eventually beat Pantheon 5. But hey, I can stop saying I've only 111% Hollow Knight, because we did beat Pantheon 4 on my, I suppose, second try today, because first try I died to a Crystal Guardian. Of all the bosses to die to. so I suppose my practice against Pale Vessel plus talking with chat, because talking with chat does make me play a little bit more carefully. Yeah, I've made a couple of attempts against Nightmare King against NKG at some point. Yeah, Hollow Knight really is a good game. At some point I'm going to do another randomizer. I'm just not sure exactly when that's going to wind up being. But hopefully soon, because the first randomizer I did, I feel like the default settings were not nearly chaotic enough. I feel like default rando settings needed to be more chaotic than they were. Because they were... I mean, I spent a long time just wandering around trying to find things, but it wasn't actually anything difficult. Yeah, Radiant difficulty. I do know... I think I've Radianted 3 bosses, which would be Massive Moss Charger, Elder Who, and I think Garmu? Yeah, that's how much you no-life that boss. I think those were the 3 I've Radianted. I technically did a no-hit against Enraged Guardian at one point also, but that wasn't on Radiant difficulty, that was just on Ascended during practice. I also definitely need to remember that spells exist. Me just standing here, just smacking everything with only my nail. And I suppose that's also very much a me thing. I suppose just running around smacking everything with my nail and never using spells is also very much just a thing that I am apt to do. Yeah. Massive Moss Chargers. So's Garmu. Elder Who's just, can you dodge pancakes repeatedly? Okay, that's not terrible. Yeah, why is Moss Charger even a boss? Because they're fun. Okay, I got told to go up here, but I can't. Because, yeah, I don't think I can actually go up here. Because, yeah, I cannot get those. I'm going to heal and get my soul back. Because, yeah. I'm currently doing a binding and also going to try to unlock Pantheon 5, because... Or at least open it up, because, I was expecting Pantheon 4 to take more than, like, 2 attempts. But apparently not. That second Abyss Shriek was completely useless. Oh, come on. I need to be a little more careful. Granted, Gorb is not exactly who I'd consider to be a difficult boss fight either, given I have beaten them with, like, 0 upgrades before. So... that does help a little bit. You know, I suppose doing some of these Pantheons is also probably going to be helpful for whenever my next rando next randomizer I run is. Yeah, if you're in the middle of a Pantheon, you stand on the bench, the game puts you at that bench back in the middle of Pantheon when you load back into save. Ah, yeah, that would help. I distinctly remember in Path of Pain, because it took me longer than one stream, I had to leave my computer running for like 24 straight hours. So I didn't lose my progress halfway through Path of Pain. And, my computer was literally like 95 Celsius on the top of my computer on the exhaust vent by the time I got back, and it was terrible, and I gave myself a secondary burn off the top of my computer. That was Pale Cord at some point. At some point, probably. Because I do legitimately like playing Hollow Knight. This is one of my top games of recent time. Again, I play a lot of games, so I see a lot of good games. But Hollow Knight is up there for sure. And I still need to beat it in Steel Soul mode also. Because there are still a number of achievements I have not gotten. Because I need to kill Nailsmith, I need to leave Zote to die, I need to beat Steel Soul mode, I need to do the speedrun modes, I need to beat Pantheon 5, I want to do more randomizers. I'm not running out of stuff. I'm not running out of content. One good boss and 3 bad bosses. Okay, we're back to Moloch at least. Let's try to not die to Moloch again. It does help that I have Shade Dash. Oh, come on, really? Heck, I've beaten Moloch with only Descending Dark before. Yeah, I've beaten Moloch with only Descending Dark before because they had the first real upgrades. Yeah, Moloch had the first real upgrade on my randomizer that I did a couple months ago. I need to schedule the second randomizer. Every time I don't play Hollow Knight for a couple of days, I forget how fun, or for a couple of weeks, I forget how much fun the game actually is. Because it really is a fun game. Yeah, Mato and Oro. From what I remember, they're not a terrible pairing of bosses, difficulty-wise. Yeah, from what I remember, they're not a terrible pairing. Though I say that as I just am damage tanking one of them in the corner, which is not great for a Pantheon. Yeah, just damage tanking one of them in the corner is not great. Ah, shoot. I probably shouldn't have damage tanked one of them in the corner. You guys were saying to go up here. Oh, that's new. That is definitely new. Oh, this is bench room. That is not something I've seen before. Yeah, I did not know that this was up here. And go up again. Ow! Because that's not far enough up. Oh, can I double jump inside? Can I make that... Is that where I need to go? Maybe? That feels a little bit not doable. I'm trusting this. There we go. That was not as much jump height as I thought I had. That is moderately terrifying. Nothing over here. I've literally never seen this before. Huh. Pantheon of Hollownest. This is not gonna go well. Also, howdy. Howdy. Oh, there's two of them. Okay, then. Oh, right. This is basically their ascended versions, isn't it? Minus the double damage. I think I remember somebody saying that at one point. Yeah, I do know that this is basically every boss in the game back-to-back, including at least several I've never even seen before. Yeah, including several I've never seen before, because... Yeah, I probably need to do nail bindings at some point. Or at least do a couple of the bindings. Probably nail binding and a couple others at some point. And then... I don't know. Because, like... I've never beaten NKG. I've made a couple of attempts on them in the practice room. I know Absolute Radiance exists at the end of Pantheon 5. I've literally never fought them before. Never fought... I can't remember the name of the upgraded version of Mantis Lords, and then Winged Nosk. I've also haven't done half these in their Ascended Arenas before either. Yeah, I haven't seen half the Ascended Arenas ever. Either, which probably does not help. Yeah, it probably doesn't help my win percentage or my odds of making it anywhere either. Yeah, favorite memory of Path of Pain is going through it very slowly the first time learning everything, and then taking like 1 hour, and then dying to the 2 nights in the end. Honestly, that tracks. I didn't die to the 2 nights in the end, but I think I got fairly close. I probably should have dream nailed them, shouldn't I? This doesn't feel any different. Yeah, I had 111%, and I was expecting Pantheon 4 to take me more than 2 attempts today. But I guess my practice I did before or off stream did pay off there. Because that was the hardest percent. Felt so good. Yeah, 5 minutes through Path of Pain. Yeah, I think my first Path of Pain took me 4-ish hours to beat. That's how long it took me to beat Path of Pain. So I could probably do it way faster now. Yeah, I could probably do Path of Pain way faster than 4 hours now. Because I started about 2 hours into a 4-hour stream, extended the stream by like 30 minutes, and then beat it like an hour into the second stream. Maybe 45 minutes. Okay, I don't know. Are all of the arenas supposedly different, or is it only some of them that have a different arena? I would have to fight Umu again. I have never once beaten Umu in Pantheons without it just being sheer dumb luck. Which is probably slightly embarrassing. Hey, I'm just gonna bully Hornet in the corner there. Yeah, all those messages are meant to be read together. Yeah, probably. Yeah, YouTube character limit's fun. You try using Pogo as armor without using the hitbox and Dream Nail. Ah, Gorb does not have, Hey, Gorb, you might need to hire an interior decorator for your arena. You, are missing some bits of ground in here. Yeah, you're missing some land. You appear to have a hole in your floor. You might need to hire a renovator. Just saying. Just saying. Maybe look into hiring a renovator for this. I am curious how far I get in get in Pantheon 5, given I did no practice for most of these bosses, because I was not expecting to get here. And I don't know 90% of these arenas. So I do wonder how far I'll just get entirely just off of whatever random vestiges of half of these bosses I have stuck in my memory. Because I deal a decent chunk of damage. And I did all the first Pantheons with the same, or did the first 4 Pantheons with the exact same charm loadout, which is kind of why I was hesitant to change it. That's why I was hesitant to change my, admittedly, quite terrible charm loadout. Oh, is that what your Ascended does? It gives you more ghost friends? I'm guessing yes? I'm guessing that's what his Ascended is, because I don't remember these being here previously. That was not terrible, mildly annoying. Okay, Molech. No platform in the middle. And no platform in the middle for Molech. I should be more careful. I need to be a little bit more careful with Molech, I think. Because, like, I haven't seen half of these, like, Ascended difficulty arenas ever, either. So, that does not help. Okay. Fighting him solo is pretty straightforward. Yeah, especially when trying to get Vengeful Spirit. Luckily, I always forget that spells exist. I spend like 90% of my time playing Hollow Knight, forgetting that every single spell in the game is a thing that exists. I should not just tank damage in the corner. Yeah, it's not going great. It's going better than it did with the nail binding. Okay, can I at least win? I can? I don't know if there's benches. And if there are benches, I don't know where they are. Suppose that answers that question. Yeah, my charm loadout is admittedly probably kind of terrible. Because Quick Slash let me attack from forever a distance away and let me deal a lot more damage. Is basically my charm loadout. Just because that's what I did the first 4 Pantheons with. Ah. You also need to hire an interior renovator. Yeah, these bosses really need to hire interior renovators because they don't have a floor. Yeah, they appear to have some problems with their floor being not something that exists. I should use Abyss Shriek. Yeah, I need to remember that spells exist. That is a constant pain point for me, though. Is my lack of remembering that spells are a thing in this game. Okay, that wasn't terrible. Yeah, Quick Slash, Shaman Stone, Mark of Pride, Steady Body, Spore Shroom. It's a pretty good loadout, also. He jumped on top of me. This is literally one of the few bosses I can beat hitless. I don't know why I took 4 damage to them. But I suppose I do get a pretty good window to heal between bosses. Yeah, I'm just curious how far I actually make it. Because a lot of these bosses I haven't fought in quite a long time. I'm gonna use that as a chance to get a heal off. Really? Like, I suppose I've beaten Soul Tyrant recently-ish. That was an embarrassing amount of damage to take to the easiest attack to dodge ever. I suppose this one's probably easier to dodge. Because he's basically just a... This isn't even Soul Tyrant, this is Soul Master. Who I can't remember if they actually do phase 2 in this arena. Yeah, Descending Dark for iframes. Yeah, everybody canceled it because of... People have canceled their streams because of people telling them exactly how to play the game. Luckily, I am stubborn, and if I don't want to listen to chat, I'll just not. Yeah, Abyss Shriek does good damage. Every time I remember it exists, I know it does very good damage. And then Descending Dark. Oh, there's 2 Oblobbles. I suppose that makes sense, because they are Oblobbles and not Oblobble. I suppose that's also a sentence that I've now said. That was more damage than I probably should have taken to Oblobbles. Though I think the last time I think this is one of the bosses I legitimately have not faced off against in over a year. Okay, I know that this is not actually Mantis Lords, because I've been spoiled on what at least some of the Pantheon 5 bosses are in the past. Though I have never faced off against... I can't remember what their actual name is. Yeah, I need to be... I need to heal. Because I know what is about to happen, and it's probably going to result in, this being how far I make it through. It's probably going to be about how far I make it. Is the first boss fight I've not seen, because I do not do well having to memorize or having to learn bosses on the fly. This is not something I'm good at. Yeah, that's just not something I'm good at doing. Sisters of Battle, yeah, that's the name. But for a very first time ever trying Pantheon 5, I don't think that was terrible. Yeah, I don't think that was terrible for my first time ever trying to beat Pantheon 5. Because I hadn't fought half of those bosses in like over a year, and I'd never even seen Sisters of Battle before then. So I will absolutely take that. I can probably Descending Dark. Yeah, I can probably Descending Dark the Vengeflies, if I had to guess, when they're in the middle, and deal a pretty good chunk of damage to them all at once. Okay, come on. The Vengeflies are not that overly difficult. Yeah, if you want, I can add HP bars to bosses. I think that's a mod. Which I suppose I do know how to install mods in this game. Though I don't actually have Lumafly on this computer. I had it on my other computer that, may or may not have fried itself last week. I think it was frying itself for... I think my old computer was busy frying itself for more than a week. And I think that's why I kept having audio issues the last month or two. People who have been hanging out in the last month or two probably remember that I kept having my microphone, like, either turn itself off or, like, just go, like, ultra static mode. I'm pretty sure those were all my computers starting to, break. Hey, Alexander. We're I suppose doing Pantheon 5 attempts now with 0 practice, because we, beat Pantheon 4 second try. And it is, going about as well as you'd expect. because I have not fought most of these bosses in quite a while. Actually, I suppose I fought all these bosses like 10 minutes ago. Come on. Yeah, I was expecting Pantheon 4 to take a little bit longer than it did. Because I died to Enraged Guardian and then I won. Practice pays off. Okay. Hey, I can finally stop saying I'm only at 111% on Hollow Knight. And I didn't miss... I had the random thought that maybe I missed 2 things for the gap between 111 and 112%. Because I wasn't really sure. I wasn't really sure if I missed 2 things for 111 to 112%, but no, we're actually at 112% now. Oh, is there an achievement for beating the game at 112%? I don't know if there is. Yeah, I did not practice any of these bosses outside of the ones for Pantheon 4 for this, so... But, I mean, this is my, I suppose, second attempt at Pantheon 5. Yeah, I suppose this is my second attempt at Pantheon 5. My first one made it to Sisters of Battle, and then proceeded to lose to Sisters of Battle. Rather quickly. Because I'd never fought against Sisters of Battle before. I think losing to them when you never even... When about all you knew is that they existed is fair enough. Is a fair assessment of the way things are gonna go. Yeah, after you start your 7th save file, you'll add Palecore and use an OP charm with Tony's Blessing. Gotta ascend Gorb, though. I gotta ascend Gorb. Hi, Gorb. Gorb's not terrible outside of the fact that he needs to get a renovator into his arena to fix the floor. Ah, shoot. That would be really embarrassing to die to Gorb. Let's not die to Gorb. Is my mic constantly peaking right now? That is actually something I can fix very easily. That would be... Here, filters... which one of these has the gain? Probably this one? I'm going to lower this from 18 to 15? That is still peaking. Wow. Is that still peaking at 12? That is still peaking at 12. 10? Is that still peaking? I'm going to lower that to 9. That looks like it's not peaking. Maybe 8. I think that looks a lot better on the mixer, at least. Yeah, that looks a lot better on the mixer. Yeah. I am not a Discord mod. I was talking about... So, I copied my OBS settings from my old computer. I think I wasn't getting as much mic power to my microphone as I needed to on my old computer, so I had the microphone gain set to, like, an absurdly high number of, like, plus 18 decibels, which is ridiculous. I just lowered the gain by basically 10 decibels, which is like an entire factor of 2. Ah, yes. The true most difficult boss of the Pantheons. Soul Warrior. Who's, actually putting up a fight. Or rather, his little ghost friends are putting up a fight. Those ghost friends are not easy. I think I had a significantly... Actually, I know that my old computer was kind of being terrible for streaming because it had a lot of ongoing issues before it fried itself. But hey, I got a new computer, much to the dismay of my wallet, given that this is 2026 and we're in the middle of the RAM apocalypse. I don't know if how many of you guys have looked at the cost of RAM lately. It goes to add-on Hollow Knight. Yeah, I don't know how many of you guys have looked at the price of RAM the last year. It's gone up by a factor of 6. The RAM kit for my computer cost, for 64 gigabytes of DDR5, which is what I need for the stream to stay stable, was $1,300 US equivalent. Which is insane. Like a year ago, it would have been like $200. Which is a problem. And they say that they don't have a monopoly. Yeah, they say they don't have a monopoly on RAM prices. I say they do. Yeah, granted, I have to run the VTuber model, and I have to run... And I do think the microphone seems like it's probably better. So yeah, please let me know if you get notice any weird audio things. The main purpose of today's stream was to test my new computer with an actual stream. Though I suppose beating Pantheon 4 and finally getting to 112% completion in Hollow Knight was a good thing to do. Am I gonna lose to 0? That would be... If I lose to any of the ghosts, that would be quite... Outside of maybe Markoth, that would be quite embarrassing. I should probably use Abyss Shriek. Because Abyss Shriek is quite good. That was a lot of damage right there. At least they don't deal double damage in the Pantheon. That does save me quite a bit. I'm gonna die to... I'm gonna die to them. This is Pantheon 5. I did not practice at all for this because I was not expecting to beat I was legitimately not expecting to beat Pantheon 4 today. So, I'm not surprised I'm having some difficulties. Third attempt. Literally third attempt, like, ever. Because, I haven't even seen half of these bosses in the Pantheons. That was a very terrible Vengefly King fight. Watch me die to Vengefly King. Because I'm not paying enough attention to the game. And not paying enough attention to the game is a great way to lose. Oh yeah, NKG, I think done like 5 attempts against NKG and never beaten them. I made it to Sisters of Battle on my first attempt. I then lost to Sisters of Battle because I'd never fought them before either. I should not have tried to heal right there. I have not seen Nosk. I don't think I have Zote in my Pantheons. I know that they're sometimes in the Pantheons. But I don't think they're in my Pantheon. It's here. I am gonna actually die to Vengefly King. That would be terrible. Yeah, let's not die to Vengefly King. Because I did save Zote, but I never saw Grey Prince Zote as a boss. Okay, I can kind of heal when they go chaos mode. I need to stop. I need to pay more attention to where this, to the fact that there's not a solid floor in this arena. Yeah, I need to pay more attention to the fact that this arena's floor has some holes in it. Because I keep walking straight into the spikes. Yeah, I suppose Fireball would work with Zero if I ever remembered that spells exist. That is still a ongoing... That's still an ongoing problem. Okay, I can get two Dream Nails off on False Knight. Every time I take damage to False Knight is really, really embarrassing. So yeah, that's a pretty good source of soul, and I feel like I'm gonna need to find good sources of soul for... Can't unlock my hatred of Zote for any type of Zote. I did do at least a little bit of the Zote fight in the training arena. You're about to get 112%. 112% is... Yeah, I left my game at 111% for like a year and a half. Before I finally sat down to get 112%, which I now have. But also, the fact that they made... The fact that there is an achievement for beating Pantheon 5 means that if I want to 100% the achievements for Hollow Knight, I need to beat Pantheon 5 at some point. Hollow Knight really is addictive. Like I was saying, I'm gonna do another randomizer at some point in the near-ish future as well, with a few more settings turned on than the first one. Because the first randomizer I did was not... had the default settings, which I feel was not nearly random enough. I feel like my first randomizer was not nearly random enough with just the default settings. So I need to... I want to do another one at some point. Hi, Gorb. You're gonna just... You're just gonna Gorb, aren't you? You gotta ascend. Yeah, just ascend, Gorb. Let's also try to not take, like, half my health bar on Gorb. Because Gorb is not even a difficult boss. Like, Gorb really is a pretty straightforward boss to fight normally. I say that as I've taken multiple hits against Gorb. It's mostly because I'm not used to this arena for them. Yeah, I'm not... Yeah, I think default was charms and items, but didn't really have anything else. I did look through the randomizer settings, and there were some fun-looking things to randomize. Which I definitely want to do at some point soon-ish. Especially now that I remember where half the things in the game are. Bosses and upgrades. Yeah, because the thing I felt with the first randomizer is a lot of the time it felt like it didn't have enough chaos for being a randomizer. Okay. That went fairly well. I'm probably gonna make it... If I had to guess, I'm gonna make it to either 0... I need to practice 0 more, is one thing I figured out. And I definitely need to practice Sisters of Battle, and Pure Vessel, and NKG. There's actually a lot of them I need to fight still, or I need to practice against still. I definitely need to get better at Markoth and Umu. I need to get better at Shio. And we need to get better at Shio. And we need to get better at a lot of them. Don't do Grass Randomizer, I'll go mad. Yeah, that one seems like it's more of a meme randomizer than an actual fun randomizer. Really? Really, Moloch? I also apparently need to practice Moloch more. Ooh, 112%. That's always fun. Yeah. Enemy randomizer will definitely get Adrad. That would definitely be my luck. I need to get my health. I need to heal. I suppose I need to heal after I get... Because I can heal at least 3 while the second one shows up. Yeah, I can heal 3 while the second one shows up. I do need to practice all of these bosses still. Because I feel like getting some bindings would be... Yeah, I feel like being able to get some bindings unlocked would help massively as well. Or being able to complete some bindings, because I think that gives me Lifeblood in Pantheon 5. That was a very good time for me to heal. Ah, shoot. That was as not far as I've ever made it on my 3 attempts. Enemy rando P5. Something tells me that would be slightly chaotic. Especially because Vengefly King spawns enemies. I don't know if there's... I can't remember if there's others that spawn enemies. Soul Warrior would spawn enemies. I guess it depends on what you consider an enemy. Something like Lost Kin could be considered to be spawning enemies with those infection blobs as well. Yeah, I suppose that could count. Which is... Yeah, Lost Kin, Soul Warrior, Vengefly King. That would... Yeah. And if you're... Enemy rando, except projectiles also count as enemies. So you have, Soul Master spawning Radiance with every single one of their attacks. This is totally a perfectly good idea. If I'm between Aura and Mata, they will both attack at once, giving you a good chance to do D-Dark for massive damage. I suppose that's fair. Because I've only beaten Aura and Mata like 5 or 6 times, most of which were in actual Pantheons. I need to be significantly more careful against Gruzmother. I need to be significantly more careful fighting Gruzmother here. Yeah, they are the bane of your existence. Anything that spawns other enemies is kind of... Oh gosh, if you did a randomizer where projectiles counted as randomized enemies, even False Knight would be terrifying, because you could count each of these rocks as an enemy. I half want to do that just to see how terrifying of a boss fight it would become. I half want to do that just to see how terrifying the boss would actually be. That Beastmaster just tried to kill the beast that ends the fight. Step 1, make it to Beastmaster. Step 2, I don't know. Probably lose. Projectiles become enemies, beware the blobbles. Oh gosh. That would be... Yeah, that would be an enemy. Hollow Knight, but every projectile is a primal aspect. Why just primal aspects? Why not throw Radiance, who spawns Radiance with every single one of the swords they throw out? Because those swords are counted as projectiles. So the swords are considered projectiles, so why not? That's a... I half want to do that now, and I half very much want to banish that back into the dark recesses of reality. Ancient primal aspid every projectile. Something tells me that would not go very well. Hi, Gorb. Do you mind ascending, please? Go ascend and then go call a renovator to fix the floor in here. I'm going to make that joke every single time I fight Gorb for all eternity now. Because, yeah, your house is not supposed to have holes in the floor like this. Ah, shoot. That's what happens every time I try to jump between the platforms, I just fall in. Gorb. The great and mighty Gorb. Oh gosh, if every projectile was a randomized enemy, Gorb would also be a nightmare. Honestly, everything would be a nightmare. That makes me really want to just make that mod if it doesn't already exist. Either find or make that mod. And then regret doing that. Sometimes you want to grab Markov and strangle him. Honestly, fair enough. I like the fact that I think I get more damage off of attacking when he pops out of the ground than actually using Descending Dark. Yeah, if Radiance only spawns more Radiance instead of projectiles, because it doesn't have a damaging hitbox, just replacing all its damage with clones. I never said it would necessarily always be the most difficult thing. I was just looking for maximum chaos ideas, and I think that is the maximum chaos idea I've managed to come up with. I think that's the maximum chaos idea I've managed to come up with is projectiles become randomized enemies. I wonder how long it would take for the game to crash. I probably should have healed before I went into this fight, instead of in this fight. Why did I dash right into Moloch? Yeah, I know how to beat Moloch. It probably wouldn't take very long for the game to crash. Yeah, Blobbles would become impossible. I don't know, maybe you can only, like, nest. No, the game is fairly well optimized. Yeah, the game is fairly well optimized, so it's definitely not impossible that it would last a while before it does a proper crash. Yeah, it might make it a while before it crashes. Ah, shoot. That is... I definitely need to get better at this fight. Or rather, I need to stop damage tanking this fight as much as I am. Because, yeah, that's a problem. Suddenly, Hollow Knight needs 64 gigs of RAM and a 5090. Yeah, I definitely would need to practice Aura and Motto more. As well as probably Shio. And Sly. Also, welcome to the stream. Because that would be... Yeah, I do wonder how... Would it be possible to beat the game if every projectile was an enemy? Even, like, on any ending. I'm not sure it would be. Yeah, not sure it would be possible to beat the game. Unless you get, like, really lucky with your enemy spawns against most of the required bosses. Because, like, at what point do you count something a projectile? At what point do you count something an enemy? Could you replace every... If you're counting things that have hitboxes, Stuff like, I think some of the Green Path birds have hitboxes. And could count as something that gets randomized. In theory. Sly gave you more trouble than Pure Vessel. Pure Vessel I somehow managed to beat, like, first try on stream today. Which is why we're in Pantheon 5 now and not Pantheon 4. Because, I died to Enraged Guardian, and then I beat the entirety of Pantheon 4 second try, which was not how I expected that to go. How did I not take a bunch of damage right there? I don't need to heal. I'm at full health. Granted, I may or may not have done like 200 attempts against Pure Vessel off stream. I won like 5 of them. So I definitely... It's definitely part of it was because I at least practiced to some degree. Yeah, some of it was definitely because I practiced to some degree. Oh, I can take out False Knight before he even has a chance to attack there. Yeah, Pantheon 1 last night, 4 more to go. We are using Quick Slash, Unbreakable Strength, Long Nail, Mark of Pride. Solely because that's what I did the first 4 Pantheons with. The Pantheons are... granted, it's Hollow Knight, it's fun. I took damage to Massive Moss Charger. I took 2 damage to Massive Moss Charger. That is... I have a running thing where I constantly forget to actually use spells. Like, I know they're extremely good, because every time I've used them, they've been extraordinarily helpful. I just constantly forget that spells actually exist. So... if I just lean into making my forgetting that spells exist at least semi-effective of long attack range plus... Yeah, if I just lean into long attack range plus lots of damage with my nail, it does work. It beat the first 4 Pantheons that way. And yeah, Pantheons are all that's between you and 100%, 12%. That's a pretty good spot to be in. Just don't be me and leave Pantheon 4 for a year and a half. Because that is definitely what I did. Is I beat the first 3 Pantheons and then just never beat Pantheon 4. Okay, that is... Come on, Gorb. You're not that difficult of a boss. But I suppose you are followed up by... I suppose Gorb is followed up by... I think it was Malek? I think it was Malek. They haven't played Hollow Knight in a bit since you finished the game. Prior to today's stream, I did a randomizer like 2-ish months ago. And I did like a bunch of attempts against Pure Vessel. And that was the total extent of my recent Hollow Knight playtime in the last like year. Granted, I did have an entire 100% Silksong playthrough in the middle. So that does help. They came back to do Pantheon 5 and finish Radiant Hall of Games before Silksong came out. Boy, that was a bad idea. I believe that. I think I've gotten... Yeah, I've gotten 3 bosses as Radiant in the Hall of Gods. Which would be Elder Who, Mossy, and I think... I want to say Garmond, but Garmu. Garmond is from a completely different game. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Hitless Markoth haunts your soul. I believe it. I need to actually focus on Malek. Malek is not one I can space out on. Okay, there we go. Let's play again and finish fighting Radiant, Slya, Blobbles, and Absrad. Nope, I need to let it finish going, and then I can heal. Yeah, worse than Absrat. Yeah, honestly, given what I know of the Markov fight, that is entirely believable. Okay, I need to be significantly more careful here. Okay, because one, dude, they're not. Yeah, they're not the most difficult ever. Okay, I need to focus a little bit more on keeping my health above 0. That was suboptimal, but I suppose it technically worked. Radiant Sisters of Battle was so much fun. So it sounds like I have a lot of fun things to look forward to in my future with the Pantheon. Because I'm hearing that I have Markov, I have Absrat, I'm gonna have to do Pure Vessel. I'm gonna have to get to the point where I can actually beat MKG. I have actually lost to 0 at least once. Because, they're not... Yeah, they're not terribly difficult, but I'm just bad at actually hitting them. I need to remember to use Abyss Shriek when they're above me on the middle platform for the faster kill time, just because they are gonna just keep chipping down my health. Yeah, I need to practice 0. I definitely need to practice 0 more. Hey, thanks for stopping by. I should actually be paying attention to the stream also, occasionally. Granted, Crystal Guardian is one that I could definitely Radiant fairly easily if I actually tried. Yeah, did months of just like one daily attempt. Thing is, I like doing I tend to stream, and I tend to stream for 4-ish hours at a time. Granted, today's stream might be a little bit shorter because it was at least a little bit more intended to be a test stream than anything. Yeah, today's stream was intended to be a little bit closer to a test stream than a real stream, but... Ah, shoot. I don't know why I didn't try to jump over him. I know how to I know how to deal with this guy. This is not... Yeah, he's not a terribly difficult boss. I say that as I then take way too much damage for a relatively straightforward boss. Come on, I can beat Soul Tyrant, like, almost 100% of the time at this point. Soul Master should be really easy. You did use a spell build for Absrat, though. I suppose that makes sense, especially for Radiant. Yeah, I think every time I've beaten Radiant, like, successfully, has been with a more spell-oriented build. I think every time I've beaten Radiance has been with a spell-oriented build, because I just, like, have them spawn, and then I just, like, blast them with Abyss Shriek every single time. Because Abyss Shriek is surprisingly effective. Focus down one Oblobble at a time. I need to focus down one Oblobble at a time. And focusing down one Oblobble is, I think, the correct strategy for the Oblobbles fight. Okay, I took a lot of damage there. This is as far as I have ever made it in Yeah, this is as far as I've ever made it in Pantheon 5, because I didn't even have this unlocked to practice against until earlier today. Which is terrifying. But I suppose I have now seen the boss at least once. I suppose I have now at least seen the boss fight one time. I'm gonna heal. Okay, I'm gonna heal. Yeah, only works with some fight. Yeah, Abyss Shriek is exceptionally good. Okay, something tells me this is as far as we're making it. So I did pick up a couple of techniques. I'm also not great at fast-paced boss fights, which this definitely is. Yeah, this is definitely a fast-paced boss fight, which I'm pretty bad at, just in general. Okay, I need to be more careful than I've been being. Ah, shoot. I landed on them instead of pogoing. Note to self, remember to pogo. And yeah, second the Blobble heals when I defeat the first. I thought I remembered that being something that happens. Yeah. Like, I know the spells are highly effective. Every time I use the spells, it's a very good thing. I just have a tendency to forget that spells actually exist. And or just forget to remember that I can use them. I kind of did the same thing in the entirety of Silksong with both spells and traps. I beat most of Silksong, like 90+% of Silksong nail only. Or I guess needle only for Silksong. Suppose I do very well at nail only challenges in these games. Just given my typical play style. Is already 90% of the way there. It's the same thing, like, the tools were exceptionally helpful every time I remembered to use them. But... yeah. You absolutely learned on Cogflies. Cogflies are super... Cogflies were pretty good. The, like, 2 times I actually remembered to use them. Okay. Focus on... Yeah, the other thing I need to do is I need to focus a lot more on keeping my health up over just doing as much damage as I possibly can. Let's also not jump into the spikes. Yeah, they're good, but Tiny Brain can't comprehend too many buttons. That's kind of where I'm coming from a lot of the time, is just... Wait, there's buttons I can press? I can sometimes beat them pretty quickly there. But I think it's safer to let him finish throwing his temper tantrum in the middle of the arena first. Yeah, I think it's safer to let Mr. False Knight throw his temper tantrum first. Flint Slate and Cogflies are your must-have. Flint Slate was one that was pretty good the couple of times I used it. Make a mod recommendation? Sure. Sure, I know how the mod loader works, at least, because I did a rando at one point, and I'm going to do another rando at some point in the future. I'm just not sure when said rando's going to be. Hi there. Moss Charger is so cheesable. Try Pale Court, so... I heard that a couple times today. I'll probably throw it onto my list at some point. I My list is, I I have a backlog. Which, of course, a bunch of my backlog is probably going to keep playing Hollow Knight because I like these games. Though I also have a lot of other Metroidvanias and Souls-likes on my backlog. That's kind of the general genres I like to play. Okay, let's not lose to Hornet. Granted, I do enough attempts, one of these times I'm going to lose to Hornet. And it will be rather embarrassing. Yeah. Got bored of waiting for Silksong, so made your own DLC. Fans made their own DLC. Honestly, fair enough. Sometimes you just gotta do it yourself. Orb, stop hiding. Stop hiding over in the corner. Yeah, Gorb, stop hiding over in the corner. I can't hit you when you're hiding over in the corner. Rather, I don't want to hit you when you're hiding over in the corner because every time I leave the central platform in the Gorb fight, I take a bunch of damage. And it is probably problematic. Yeah, all the stuff that has like multiple gaps in the floor, I struggle with a bit. Yeah, Hornet 1 can generally mess you up because you're used to Hornet 2 speed. Oh gosh, I remember the first time I did Hornet 2, it took me like 3 hours, and then when I did it in the randomizer, I did it like first try. Like first or second try. Which was really funny. So I was also definitely not as well equipped that time. Right, I need to be adjacent, but not standing directly under him if I don't want to take a bunch of damage. Okay. Yeah, Dung Defender's pretty easy. Honestly, both the Defenders are pretty easy. Dung Defender and his White Defender variant. Yeah. Never forget when you lost a Steel Soul run to Moss Creep. Oh no. That's not great. No matter what, if you do enough attempts against anything, eventually you're gonna die to the easy stuff. And you're just gonna have a bad time, you're just gonna like lose focus or something. Okay. Died to one of the crystal shooters in Crystal Peak. Hey, White Soul. Welcome to stream. I'm currently dying to Pantheon 5 repeatedly. I beat Pantheon 4. I am now definitely out of practice for most of the rest of the Pantheon bosses. I didn't so much as fix my computer problems as replace my computer. Much to the dismay of my wallet. I could have gotten a heal off there. Yeah, it was less a computer repair and more a computer replace. Okay. That gives me at least a chance to be at mostly full health. Though this is a boss fight that I genuinely struggle to beat consistently. And I'm going to need to practice a lot. I'm going to need to practice this boss fight a lot to get myself to the point where I'm consistent. Ah, right, they jump. Right, they definitely jump up. That is a terrifying spot to be in. Ah, shoot. That was not great. Yeah, I definitely need to practice a lot of these bosses. Planning on playing Darkest Dungeon? Have any tips? I haven't played that game in a long time. I'm gonna probably give Pantheon 5 like a couple more attempts on stream here. But yeah. It does appear that my goal of test my new computer has been successful, because this does appear to be working. It's also working actually way better than my old computer was. Yeah, this is working way better than my old computer was, so I'll take it. I'll take it, even though, I wish I didn't have to get a computer halfway through, or partway through Ramageddon. Vengefly King spawns Minion. Minion is no longer there. Yeah, at some point I still need to beat the game in Steel Soul mode. I also need to beat the game in Steel Soul mode with 100% on the completion tracker, I think was one of the achievements that was remaining. But yeah. 100% Steel Soul in under 30 hours on the second try. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Top 3 gaming feats. Well, a lot of my gaming feats are basically can translate to I was extremely stubborn and I just didn't give up on something that was borderline impossible. I did beat a game once in a way that the developer told me they thought nobody would ever do because it was, or because they could not replicate, or they could not, in their internal testing, beat a couple of the bosses under the rule set that I was playing on. Because it was like a max difficulty run of a game called East 9 without like any upgrades. Yeah, with enough stubbornness, anything's possible. The reason I think they thought it was probably actually impossible is because there was one particular boss who is etched into my memory where the successful attempt took 4.5 hours of you can make exactly 2 mistakes. That took me several months of, like, playing multiple hours a day to pull that one off. But yeah. You technically haven't 100%ed Steel Soul Hollow Knight. You just said good enough because you died in Path of Pain. Honestly, that is... I would consider that perfectly valid. Because, I don't think I ever died in Path of Pain, but that's because I was using the cheese build. I'm just gonna bully Hornet here. Hornet is very easy to just bully in this game. I mean, I suppose Hornet is taking double damage from everything. Presumably. Yeah, I presume Hornet's probably just taking double damage from everything. Yeah, Path of Pain is not a percent. Yeah, because there's also the fact there are 112% to complete. Okay, 1, 2. Gotta ascend Gorb. Yeah, I definitely need to practice quite a few of these boss fights if I'm gonna stand any chance of ever beating Pantheon 5. Or I just need to pull out my God Gamer skills, which definitely exist. I definitely have some secret God Gamer skills that I have never pulled out before. Totally not making that up. End of the path using Hive Blood. That's also fair enough. Yeah, because my first Path of Pain, or I guess the only time I've actually done Path of Pain, because I've only done it once, was a fun time. Hi there, Dung Defender. Do you mind just not... Okay, I want you to be right next to you because I can hit you as you go back down into the ground once or twice. And it's actually sometimes enough. Sometimes he doesn't even finish doing that before I beat him. Yeah, Pale Core and some modded bosses like Pale Prince and the Ancient Aspid. Ancient Aspid just sounds terrifying given what I know of the Primal Aspids. Soul Warrior. Because, like, I have not beaten most bosses on... I have not beaten most bosses on Ascended in Hall of Gods, which I know is a pretty good benchmark for... Are you probably going to be able to do it consistently enough for Pantheons? Do it in the Pantheon? And I've done like 3 Radiant and like 4 or 5 others Ascended. So yeah, definitely have some practice to do there. Ah, shoot. I keep dodging into Moloch is my problem. It did part of a randomizer in the game, updated and broke all the mods. Yeah, I'm gonna do another like I said, I'm gonna do another randomizer at some point also. Yeah, Ancient Aspid, isn't it like the Omega Radiance? That sounds terrifying also. Everything I'm hearing about Ancient Aspid makes it sound like the true final boss of Hollow Knight. Which honestly probably tracks. Yeah, probably tracks. But I have decided I am going to eventually beat Pantheon 5 here. Probably not today, though. Because I'm going to need to definitely do some practice on these bosses. I'm definitely going to need to practice some of these bosses a lot more than I have in order to be able to do them with Pantheon level consistency. But yeah, kick in there. You've seen the Ancient Aspid fight and you're too scared to try. That sounds like something I should try then. Yeah, I need to make a highlight video for my rando. It's like it was half edited on my previous computer, and then my previous computer fried itself. Yeah, I still have all the data, I just need to finish editing it. But, yeah. Because I do have it partially edited. You'd rather do Pantheon 5 times in a row than do that abomination again? Is it really that bad? That sounds like something right up my alleyway of, being rather prone to enjoying painful boss fights. Yeah, I definitely need to practice the Zero fight more. Because this is a lot more damage than I realistically should be taking on this fight. Yeah, this is way more damage than I realistically should be taking. And I may actually lose to Zero. Okay, I didn't lose to them. It's not a great health level to be at, though. So I suppose they are followed up by Crystal Guardian of all bosses, who is one that I surprisingly haven't actually gotten marked as Radiant yet, even though I've beaten them hitless several times, just because I never did it in the Hall of Gods. Yeah, Pantheon 5 isn't that bad once I get good at it. I just haven't practiced like half the bosses I need to beat in Pantheon 5 to the point where I'm more than like 1 in 5 to 1 in 20 consistency on beating them. And I feel like I need like 95%, like 90 to 95% consistency on most bosses to stand a chance. Watching this makes you want to play Hollow Knight again? It's a fun game. Says the person who's actively streaming Hollow Knight. I think I like playing Hollow Knight. Oh, right. I always forget that they can sometimes do the fake-out dodge. So they are at least the slower version. Yeah, these are at least... This is at least the slower version of Soul Master, and not Soul Tyrant. I feel like Obliterating Watch Knights. That is one I'm going to need to practice more to be consistent enough. And And honestly, I'm probably gonna do a lot of the practice for the Pantheons between various Pantheon streams. That feels like the way to do it. Really? There we go. Pantheon 5 is basically just every boss in a row. Yeah. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I know what what's generally going on here in the Pantheons, but I just haven't practiced a lot of the bosses to the consistency level required. Which is... Yeah, that's the main thing, is it's not that I haven't fought all these bosses. I've beaten all these bosses at least once, except for Absrad and NKG. Are the only ones I've never actually beaten. That and I suppose Winged Nosk. And Grey Prince Zote, who's I don't think will be in my Pantheons. I don't think they'll be in my Pantheon. But I suppose I haven't beaten Sisters of Battle yet either. I need to... Because I couldn't practice against them because they weren't unlocked yet until you... They aren't unlocked until you see them in the Pantheon. Which makes it hard for me to practice and learn their attack pattern ahead of the stream if I don't have them unlocked yet. Okay, I can heal here. Yeah, some bosses are buffed. Yeah. I suppose that's also true. Like this one. Which is probably how far I'm making it this attempt. Unless I, like, lock in way more than I normally have. I don't even know how much health Sisters of Battle have. I don't even know how much health I'm trying to deal with. Like, I don't know if I'm, like, getting halfway or if I'm getting, like, 10% of the way. Okay, we took out one of them, though. That's the most progress I think I've ever gotten in this fight. Yeah, I think that's the most progress I've ever gotten. That is not a safe time to try to dodge. Okay, what are you doing? Okay, that's 2. Come on. Come on. Should be really embarrassing to die now. This is the furthest I have ever made it in Pantheon 5. That is progress. And there's a bench. See, I am capable of learning. I'm worried that there's a bench, though. That scares me. Yeah, they all have their own health bar, but good luck keeping track of which is which. Marmu is a boss that I haven't fought in a year and a half. But I do think I've actually radianted Marmu at least once before. Yeah, I do think I radianted Marmu at one point. Yeah, they're just the ping pong. I am capable of learning. Occasionally. Ah, yes. Flukmarm. The Flukmarm, the Great and Powerful. This boss just freaks me out. Like, they're not... I don't think they're an overly difficult boss. Yeah, they're not an overly difficult boss. They're just freaky. That's literally all they are, is just freaky. Broken Vessel. Okay, this is a boss that I occasionally have issues with. There's more the Lost Kin version than the Broken Vessel variant. That gives me a bunch of trouble. Because of the ghosts that he spawns. Yeah, the ghosts that they spawn give me trouble. Do you want to know how they did the noises for Flukmarm? It sounds vaguely like gargling yogurt. I have no idea if that's accurate, but that sounds vaguely like what it is. Yeah, this is Galeon. I haven't fought Galeon in a long time either. And Galeon's another one that I haven't fought in like a year and a half. Granted, they're not that difficult. They waterboarded the VA. That's a little bit terrifying, and I suspect they didn't. I haven't fought you in a year and a half either, Shio. I do not remember most of Shio's attacks. And when I say most of Shio's attacks, any of Shio's attacks. Because like I said, have not fought Shio in a year and a half. Right, they have a bunch of projectiles. They spawn a lot of projectiles, don't they? Okay. Not terrible. I'm kind of playing this very cautiously because I just do not remember most of what they can do. That worked. That worked. Radiant Shio is fun. Can you tell by the brush that they threw out? Interesting. Yeah, one of the most telegraphed bosses. Yeah, I just haven't fought them in a long time. Yeah, I just haven't fought them in a long time. I haven't fought Hive Knight in a long time either. I seem to remember them not being a terribly difficult boss. Yeah, I seem to remember Hive Knight not being a terribly difficult boss, though. So I could be misremembering, because I also have never fought them on whatever their Radiant upgraded mode is. Okay, that wasn't terrible. Yeah, Hive Knight is the bee's knees. Who's next? Pancakes. Pancakes is next. Yeah, Elder Who is one of the bosses that I've radianted. Is one of the very few bosses I know I've radianted, so even if I haven't fought them a ton recently, I suspect they're not actually all that difficult. I say that I then take damage to them. Okay, you're gonna pop back into existence somewhere. Okay, that wasn't terrible. Yeah, it goes from not even an issue to run kill her. Collector, your favorite autistic boss. We did make it to Collector. This is by a pretty big margin, the furthest I've ever made it in Pantheon 5. Yeah, this is... Yeah, it's quite a margin. Honestly, the fact that I deal about 1 billion damage per hit probably helps this fight quite a lot. It probably helps me quite a lot in this fight. They should be about done. Yeah, there they are. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Collector's not terribly difficult. I've not fought God Tamer in 6.5 eternities either. Yeah, I have not fought God Tamer in a long time. I remember them not being terribly difficult. I remember there was some sort of cheese strat I could pull. But I don't remember what it was. Hopefully this is not the end of my attempt. Okay, it is not the end of my attempt. I am very low on health, though. I'm gonna heal. Regular Grim. Sorry, I didn't mean to attack you at the start. I forgot you have to be polite to Grim. I'm sorry. There goes all my health. I have not fought Grim in a long time. If that intro was any indication. If the intro was any indication as to how long it's been since I've fought Grim. Okay, this might be where this run attempt ends. Okay, maybe not yet. It's not a game over until I'm actually out of health. Okay, now I'm out of health. Yeah, Pogo, God Tamer, and D-Dark. I suppose that would work. Yeah, I suppose that would work. That was... I should not have attacked Grim, I should have healed. It doesn't help that I hadn't fought Grim in like a year and a half before that. Yeah, that was a very, very terrible Grim fight. Grim's one of the bosses I know I've actually beaten on the... not Radiant difficulty, but the Ascended difficulty. Like, I know how to do the Grim fight, or at least knew how to do the Grim fight. I just seriously goofed up because... Yeah, do not interrupt the theater, kid. Yeah, I just seriously messed up that Grim fight because it had been like a year and a half since I'd even attempted a Grim fight, so... That's my reasoning. That was a... Because I'm not very consistent at Sisters... I'm not going to be very consistent at Sisters of Battle yet. I'm not consistent at Mato Oro yet. Yeah, there's definitely several bosses on the way there that I'm not consistent at. Yeah, Ascended Grim, also known as NKG Light. I have not beaten NKG ever. Yeah, I've not beaten NKG ever. You're used to NKG timings. At some point I need to actually practice NKG to the point where I can beat them consistently. Same thing with Pure Vessel. And really all the bosses. Yeah, it really just applies to every boss in the game. That I'm not 100% consistent at, or near 100% consistent at. Because this is... Yeah, it's just... a lot of these bosses haven't been fought outside of the Pantheon since I did them in like my initial 111% a year and a half ago. So I'm still busy reminding myself how some of these bosses work. But hey, doing a handful of Pantheon attempts here is, I think, good from the perspective of... It reminds me which bosses I need to actually practice more later. Because tricky bosses are going to be tricky. Or at least bosses that I haven't practiced to the point of being consistent are going to be tricky. Honestly, I think there are bosses harder than anything that I've seen outside of NKG and probably Absrad. I've seen more difficult bosses than all the other bosses I've seen while playing Silksong. Which probably helps a little bit. Because Team Cherry's design philosophy didn't completely change. Oh, come on. I like how I can see all the abilities that Hornet gets in Silksong being used. Or, like, also being present in Hollow Knight. Like, I could tell where they got some of the ideas from, because, like, that would be a claw line. Yeah, NKG is standing in one of the corners and letting him come at you instead of trying to greed out hits. Yeah, I hit False Knight as he jumps, the stagger before he throws his tantrum is consistent. I believe it. Granted, False Knight is not a major problem point. Yeah, False Knight's not what I'd consider a major problem point, generally. Okay, Gorb's gonna be at 3. I like when Gorb's above me and not off to the side. It's much easier for me to dodge Gorb's attacks when I'm on the platform with him. I should not have fallen off the platform there. Luckily, it's only Dung Defender, who is not the most difficult boss ever. Honestly, my strategy for Dung Defender is basically just walk up to him and smack him a few times until he stops existing. Because they're not a terrible boss. Having some of the easier bosses mixed in early also does make me worried that we're gonna get some difficult boss rush at the end of the Pantheon. Because I have a sneaking suspicion that it's probably Pure Vessel, NKG, and Radiance right at the end. I don't actually know the Pantheon 5 boss order, but I'm going out on a limb, and I'm gonna guess that those are gonna be the last 3. Just because that feels like what would be going on. Really, I took a hit from Soul Warrior. Not even like a good hit. Yeah, Dung Defender is really easy when you can outrange his hands while he's throwing stuff. Yeah, White Defender is also really easy for the same general reasoning. Moloch gives me a weirdly difficult time, and I'm not sure why. Yeah, Moloch gives me a weirdly difficult time for some reason. And I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong with Moloch. Granted, it does get me to this fight consistently with good enough health for me to lose all my health. I'm standing behind the nail and I can't even see myself. Hi there. This part gives me... Yeah, this part causes me problems. They do take turns. Yeah, they do at least take turns with attacking me for the most part. Because yeah, they're not. I think I've basically started to remind myself of how to consistently beat them at this point. That's a terrible spot to stand. That was not great. Yeah, for automatic, only one of them will attack a time unless in between them. Yeah. Pantheon 5 really only starts the second to last bench. Because, yeah. But from what I'm guessing, it's those 3 at the end, and... I've attempted NKG. It has not gone well. I'm not very consistent at... Yeah, I'm not very consistent at most of the bosses. Or I'm not very consistent at Pure Vessel. I say that as if I didn't get them first try on stream today. But I'm not very consistent at Pure Vessel. I'm like 6 set for 200 right now on my win rate. And even if you only count my like most recent ones after I figured out their patterns, I'm still only like 1 for 20. Or I guess like 2 for 50 probably. Okay, I am taking way too much damage against Zero. I need to do something different with the Zero fight. Because I am very, very inconsistent at Zero. And I think the Sly's moveset. Honestly, I think I beat Sly like second try ever. in Pantheon 3. Like second or third ever try. Sly was not a problem. Yeah, pure vessel too much late at night, you start to cry. Yeah. Pure vessel is going to be a problem. Honestly, all three of the last three are going to be a fairly significant problem. Which is fun. I'm not sure why I didn't use that as a chance to heal. Granted, Soul Master is slow enough that I have about 8 billion chances to heal regardless, so I'm not terribly concerned. I'm not terribly concerned. Though it is definitely challenging. I have a feeling I'm going to make it probably the Sisters of Battle again. Here, thinking about this game's lore, sometimes it's just so tragic. It kind of is a tragic bit of lore. Hi there. Would you mind not ground slamming everywhere? And can you please spawn closer to the ground next time? Thank you. He's not difficult to hit when he's up in the air, but it's much easier if I can just smack him a couple times from the ground. Makes my life at least a little bit more straightforward. 1, 2, 3. Okay, gotta take out the oblobbles. Focus on one oblobble first. I think normally I keep focusing on the right oblobble. I think focusing on the right oblobble and then the left oblobble is probably my strategy. Like, I know it doesn't matter which one I focus on first, but I just like that ordering. Why don't we die to the oblobbles here? Let's not die to the oblobbles. Let me get off as much healing as I can before Sisters of Battle starts. Because, this fight is terrifying to me. And I'm pretty sure I won entirely off of a fluke last time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my last win was entirely just a random fluke that I managed to pull that off. Okay. Though their attack pattern is... Yeah, their attack pattern is at least somewhat readable. Yeah, their attack pattern is not the least readable thing I've seen. Yeah, their attack pattern is not terrible. Okay. This definitely takes a lot of focus off from me, though. Yeah, this is definitely a heavy focus. Heavy focus required type of boss. Which is... honestly not as... Where's the second one? I was only seeing one of them show up at a time, and it was really throwing me off there for a second. Okay, that's 2. That is lower health than I'd like to be at. How much health? The fact that they all have separate health bars and one of them always lasts this much longer is interesting. Let's not lose now, though. When there's only one of them. Hey! Two Sisters of Battle in a row. I'll take that. It's not terrible. I have not played Slay the Spire 2 yet. If the first one grabs the wall at a low spot, you can jump over the Throne Blade and have enough time to heal one mask. Or I just get to phase 2 before I lose enough We're taking enough damage to need to get a second mask. Let's not die to Garmu. That would be really, really embarrassing. Yeah, dying to Garmu would be really, really embarrassing here. Like, I do improve. Maybe I do Abyss Shriek Luke Marm a little bit. So granted, I'm at least also not trying to do this damageless. Granted, I could probably Radiant Fluke Marm, not too bad. Yeah, you died to Garmu, embarrassing. I mean, the odds of me dying to any of these bosses is still not 0. I could die to False Knight. I could... That is always a chance. Ancient Egyptian Cat. I mean, that's definitely the hieroglyphics. I have no idea how to read hieroglyphics, though. I usually just Pogo Fluke Marm. I suppose that also works. I suppose that also works. I do not speak hieroglyphics. My only exposure to hieroglyphics was a random one class I took in was like a random like single class period in elementary school where we learned to write our name in hieroglyphics for no real reason. Let's not die to Galian. That would be terrible. Yeah, let's not die to Galian. You've heard of foreign languages but never saw ancient languages?
Yes.
Okay, we're back to Shio, who I did struggle with a little bit last time. I did struggle with Shio a little bit last time, though they're not. They have fairly. They do actually have fairly good tells. I just need to learn them. I just need to get better at reading Shio's tells. Ah, yeah, that would do it. Oh, he has a AoE on his ground slam attack there. Yeah, imagine getting pushed to 2 hearts by Galian. To be fair, that's my second time I fought Galian today, and my second time in the last like year and a half. Most of the goof ups I'm making are just because I have not fought a lot of these bosses in a very long time, because I was honestly not expecting to even beat Pantheon 4 today. I wasn't expecting to even get to Pantheon 4 today, let alone do any Pantheon 5 attempts. Or get through Pantheon 4, let alone do any Pantheon 5 attempts. So, that's at least my reasoning. Good or not. Yeah, Galen gets harder if you don't simply outpace his damage. I deal a lot of Dale damage, at least. That does help. That does help significantly. The furthest I've made it is Normal Grim, who I did about the worst job possible of fighting. And Normal Grim, who I did the worst job possible of facing off against. At least Elder Who pancakes aren't that difficult. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna take damage now, but because that's just how it goes. You beat him Radiant by simply throwing yourself at the wall and getting good RNG. Honestly, that probably tracks. I like Collector. It is very nice that I can one-shot basically anything that Collector spawns, though. Yeah, being able to one-shot basically every Collector spawn is extremely helpful. Because that makes this fight about 1,000 times easier than it was the first time I did it. Where Collector was actually somewhat sturdy. This Godseeker. Scaling scythe follow the player similar to Hollownest slam attack pattern? I suppose, yeah. Okay, God Tamer last time gave me some trouble. Yeah, God Tamer last time gave me some trouble, and I think it's probably gonna give me trouble again if I had to guess. Though also pogoing on top of the beast seems to be a viable strategy. They shouldn't have that much more health. And like they shouldn't have that much more health there. Yeah, many sites use DVD logo logic. Yeah, they never hit the corner. Okay, so this is as far as I've ever made it in Pantheon 5. Was this fight because I kind of forgot to not attack Grim at the start of the fight and got absolutely wrecked in response. I do not remember how to counter that attack. I do not remember how to counter some of these attacks. Okay, that's how I counter that attack. I remember that there was a easy-ish pattern to dodge on the left side. Ah, right. I beat Pure Vessel earlier. I should not be taking hits from those. That type of attack. Yeah, I should not be taking hits from some of these attacks. Because this is also one of the only bosses I've successfully beaten on Ascended. Or the double damage. Not the one hit you die difficulty, but the double damage difficulty. One was normal Grim. I just do not remember the attack pattern. Okay, I need to run over into my corner. Dodge, dodge, dodge. And there should be one more set of two? Yeah. That one is one that I just need to dodge away from, I think. Okay, we should be getting close. We should be getting close on Grim. Though granted, I know that I'm gonna have to deal with NKG at some point, and I've literally never once won NKG, even in practice mode. Hey, this is a new furthest point in Pantheon 5. Bench worries me. Bench always worries me. Does this mean we have Shio next? Who's this? This is new. Sleeping God, we can barely feel thy presence amongst the green left behind. What strength thee once possessed fades beyond time and tune. And then such magnificent scale, even in decline, if only thee could teach us to grow so large. Okay, he just says the same thing over and over again. Here it comes Un. This is not Un, this is Watcher Knights. This is a problem. Watcher Knights are a boss that I am very bad at beating consistently. I've gotten better at beating them consistently, but 90% of my strategy for Watcher Knights is damage tank them until I have one at a time, and then try to get a little bit of healing off. I damage tank until I take out one and try to get some healing done before the second one spawns. Is basically my go-to strategy for Watcher Knights, and it is not great. Okay, that should take him down to one, though. Yeah, I definitely have consistency issues with Watcher Knights because of my damage tank strategy. Which is a problem. Here's Umu. This might be where this one ends because I am exceptionally bad at Pantheon's Umu. Yeah, I'm very bad at Pantheon's Umu because I'm just very bad at guiding the jellies. Yeah, I'm very bad at guiding the jellies to Umu. Is my long-running issue with this fight. And my best strategy I've ever found is to do quite a bit of damage tanking against Umu by basically doing that. That's not a lot of health. Yeah, no Umu is hard. This is not Hornet. This is Nosk. Who is going to be a problem because I've never actually fought Flying Nosk before. Like, I have literally never once fought this boss fight before. So I do not know what attack patterns they throw. And I went into this fight without a ton of health. I went into this fight without a ton of health, which is problematic. Because I've never seen this fight before. Right now. I'm doing the strategy of trying to keep my health above 0, and it is kind of failing. Farthest I've made in Pantheon 5. That does kind of accomplish one of my goals if I was going to do Pantheon 5, was unlock everything other than Abzrad so I could practice. I think I'm going to give Pantheon 5 one more go today and see how far I make it. Yeah, they did feel very much Vengefly King. I think if I got through Umu with a little bit more health, I would have been fine. And or if I knew better heal timings in that fight, I also probably would have been just fine. Yeah, because that's not anything terribly... Yeah, they weren't anything terribly difficult. I just had never seen them before, so I had zero clue what to expect. Yeah, get good at Pantheon. Also try using double jump. That would probably help. Yeah, double jump would probably help with Flying Nosk. But, like, given that was my first time ever even making it to see Flying Nosk, I'll take having made it there. Because I didn't unlock Pantheon until earlier in the stream today. He died? Oh no. So yeah, this is my first set of attempts on Pantheon 5. Completely zero prepped. Yeah, zero prep on any of this. That is terrible. That was terrible. That was some pretty terrible gameplay on my part there. Okay, I need to be a little bit more consistent at them also. Turns out you can't do Overcharmed Zote. Yeah, almost reaching P4 is pretty impressive within P5. I mean, given that I beat P4 for the first time, like, earlier today, and I hadn't practiced any non-P4 bosses. Yeah, given that I hadn't even beat any non-P4 bosses at any point, like hadn't practiced any of them in like over a year, I'll take it. I will honestly take this much progress today. Because the other thing that's nice is that unlocks, I think, every boss other than Absrad for me to practice in Hall of Gods. That'll be in Pantheon. Because I never saw Grey Prince Zote, so I think that means they're not in the Pantheon. Yeah, I think having never seen Grey Prince Zote means that they're not going to be in the Pantheon. Which means that I think every boss other than Absrad is practicable now. Which I think will be very, very good. Because a lot of these bosses I don't need to really practice on. But the ones that I've died on, or that I, like, struggle with, I can go and practice. And get just to get more consistent. I'm gonna Bistreak Gorb. I apparently ascended Gorb completely off the screen there. I am going to need to not die to Gorb. Thank you very much. And Gorb is not terribly difficult. Yeah, Gorb isn't terribly difficult. I just gotta be halfway intelligent with where I stand. Okay, there we go. There we go. Getting better. Cause what I did before stream is I did like two or three attempts on all the Pantheon 4 bosses, other than Pale Vessel, and then like 150, 200 attempts on Pure Vessel. I keep calling him Pale Vessel. I don't know why. But then, yeah, that's about all I did for prep. Which, I mean, it worked for Pantheon 4. It's gonna land on my head, isn't it? No, it's not. I thought it was gonna land on my head for a second there. Honestly, this feels a lot more... But honestly, what I'm gonna say is Pantheon 5 feels a lot more doable than I thought it was gonna feel. I was very worried that this would be like borderline impossible, but I think once I practice a couple of the bosses, it'll be entirely doable without a ton, without being a like insanely impossible thing. Might still take me quite a few tries, but it feels not terrible. I say that I'm like losing to Soul Warrior. But yeah, I do think I'll be able to pull off Pantheon 5. Probably within 15 or 20 hours of practice and attempts would be about where I'd put it. I am taking way too much damage to Malek. Yeah, I am taking way too much damage to Malek there. Especially given that these guys are the next set of bosses right after Malek, and I am not consistent against Orochimaru. Orochimaru kind of look like Watcher Knights a little bit. Might be a weird thing to say. Chaso. But like they vaguely remind me of the Watcher Knights. Like a little bit more than I think is logical. I need to not get stuck between the two of them though. Okay, I need to I need to heal. Yeah, I need to heal, otherwise I am 100% going to die. And even then, I still might die. Okay, at least I got a heal off. Yeah, you like the cheese if they say chasso, or the cheese if they say chasso. Not sure entirely how to read that message. But the fact that I've gotten past them several times in a row, I think feels pretty good. Zero is definitely one of the bosses I need to practice more. Yeah, Zero is definitely one of the bosses I need to practice more. I also definitely need to practice. I know, even though I haven't gotten to them yet, that I'm going to need to practice Markov quite significantly. Because I know the level of pain that Markov is going to inflict on my psyche when I have to fight them without the ground. And I at least know it's gonna be there. Which means it means I can prep for it. Yeah, because Zero, I do occasionally lose to Zero still. Or Xeno. Yeah, I do occasionally lose to them is the problem. Though the fact that they are followed up by Crystal Guardian does help quite a bit. I say they take multiple hits to Crystal Guardian. I really should not take any hits to Crystal Guardian, but I keep taking hits to Crystal Guardian. Though also Soul Master has a lot of... It's also pretty good for healing against, honestly. So like, being at lower health going out of the Zero fight isn't terrible. Like, being at slightly lower health going out of the Zero fight isn't outright terrible for me. I don't know I do not have a consistent way to, or spot to dodge that attack. I'm just halfway, I think I just get lucky a lot. Yeah, this is me attempting Pantheon 5 because I unlocked it earlier today. And it is not going entirely according to easiest. Have I also tried not dashing into the bosses? That would indeed help. That's something I did with... That's something I had to, like, specifically train myself on Pure Vessel, was not dashing straight into Pure Vessel constantly. Oh, come on. That was he did a lot of stalls there. Yeah, he's... Okay, yeah, he's not terribly difficult there. Because I've never beaten Pantheon... I hadn't even beaten Pantheon 4 until earlier today. Blobbles. The Blobbles are gonna... Blobble. I don't know which one's which. I think they swapped places in my Abyss Shriek. I think the Blobbles... Yeah, I think the Blobbles swapped places when I Abyss Shrieked. How did I not get hit there? How did I not get hit while healing? That was a little bit ridiculous. Yeah, looking from alive makes it easier for the P5. Okay, I've beaten this boss twice. I had never fought them before, like, a couple of Pantheon 5 attempts ago, so... I don't know if I'm getting... how consistent I am at this boss. Because they're definitely not the easiest. I mean, at this point, I can't track which one's which. I just try to pick through them in as survivable of a way as I can. Yeah, my goal is basically to just survive and deal as much damage as I can when I have good windows too. Which it does seem to be at least a mildly effective strategy. That was... I needed to do a jump there. That was pretty terrible. Okay, that's one. Once one of them is down, it gets a little bit easier. Okay. I mean, I technically healed and then lost my health. That's a, I think, fair enough trade. Yeah, I know I could heal off that attack. I don't feel consistent enough with my timing to heal off that attack. Or that attack, necessarily. Yeah, the two Sisters of Battle. Yeah, having a bench right after Sisters of Battle, I think I prefer it before Sisters of Battle, but it works. Yeah, it works, I suppose. Taking a bunch of damage to Marmu is kind of embarrassing. Yeah, watching Marmu actually beat me one of these times. Yeah, Marmu's not super bad. Swapping charms out at the bench after Grim. Give myself more health in that fight, because those fights are long. I suppose that would probably help. We do have a Fluke Marm infestation, though. Yeah, Fluke Marm is... they're just disturbing. Yeah, Abyss Shriek would work. Abyss Shriek would work. I definitely forget that my spells exist, like, most of the time. Which is a long-standing problem of mine. It's just constantly forgetting that spells like Abyss Shriek and Descending Dark, and they all... I have them all. I just forget to use them. Though I could probably do, but with my already fairly low level of consistency. Okay, let's be a little bit more careful in the Galian fight to avoid the giant spinny blade of doom. Okay, that was a significantly better Galian fight than last time. Yeah, that was a significantly cleaner Galian fight than last time. My previous Galian fight was, kinda terrible. Okay, he's gonna be yellow. He's gonna be pink, which is that one. Oh, I see his telegraph now. I see how Shio telegraphs. That is immensely helpful. Because I hadn't quite picked up on how the telegraphing works. Like, his paintbrush is a slightly blue color by just sitting there. Yeah, his paintbrush is a slightly blue color just sitting there, so I hadn't picked up on how it's used as a telegraph. It changes colors shortly before. Yeah, I could swap at one of the future benches. I could swap Long Nail for Unbreakable Heart to give me a little bit more health. That would That is something I had considered doing, because I like Quick Slash. I mean, this is the charm loadout that got me through the first 4 Pantheons. And it's because the attack range is helpful. I do need to get better at Hive Knight not taking about 8 billion damage during the fight, though it's not terrible. Yeah, Shio the artist you shouldn't mess with. And then we have pancakes. That makes me want to make pancakes after the stream ends. I might make pancakes after the stream ends. How many bosses? I have no idea because I've never beaten Pantheon 5. I'm guessing it generally goes Pantheons 1, 2, 3, 4 ish. And then Pure Vessel, NKG Absrad. And we're somewhere in Pantheon 3, I think. Because Shio's the delineator between 2 and 3. Yes, still a ton. Yeah. I mean, one of my side goals after I got into Pantheon 5 was to unlock both Flying Nosk and Sisters of Battle. If for no other reason than to make it so I can have everything other than Absrad practicable. Because having everything other than Absrad be something I can at least practice against probably helps. Will probably help me get to Absrad at some point on whatever winds up being my next Pantheon attempt stream after this one. Because, yeah, the Pantheons are a little bit difficult. Yeah, imagine a scenario when some husk makes fun of Shio's painting, and then Shio appears behind them. Pure Vessel's after NKG. I suppose good to know. I'd never, like I said, I've never done Pantheon 5 before today. I hadn't even, I know what's in Pantheon 5 vaguely, but I've only ever seen like heavily edited Pantheon 5s, which are not super useful. You really are gonna jump and hit me after I beat the beast. Okay. 19 left. Hi, Grim. I learned my lesson to not attack you at the start of your fight. I also remembered 90% of your attack patterns last time. I still keep misreading that one, though. Okay, you're gonna balloon. And then okay, I cannot heal there. Okay, I can heal if you're gonna do spikes at some point. Or if I stun you. Okay, that is... I do like the Grim fight. I am on the wrong side. I don't know the patterns to dodge on this side. Okay, they're not terrible on either side. Okay, yeah, Grim is not terrible to dodge from... or balloon mode on either side of the arena. But I think I prefer left side. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I can get one heal off when Grim does spikes. I can then immediately take damage from it. That works. So they're just called Pufferfish form. Pufferfish balloon. I suppose they both work. I don't know if the game really has official names for a lot of these attacks and whatnot. Man, Grimm's pretty fun. Yeah, but pufferfish farm also makes sense. Either balloon or pufferfish. So do I want to swap out for the extra health? I can swap Longnail for Unbreakable Heart, which does give me at least a little bit of extra health, which could be nice. It could be nice to have the extra health from Unbreakable Heart for this section. Because yeah, Watcher Knights starting off this section is mildly terrifying. Particularly given my consistency issues with facing the Watcher Knights. Though the Watcher Knights aren't the worst enemy ever. Yeah, the Watcher Knights aren't the worst, I'm just not consistent at doing them without taking a ton of damage. Okay, I think that's down to just the one Watcher Knight remaining, who I can actually kind of heal off of. At least a little bit. Okay, there we go. Also, hey, welcome to stream. Currently getting slightly wrecked by the 5th Pantheon. I had mentally blocked out Umu as existing already. I do not like Pantheon's Umu. Yeah, I am not a fan of Pantheon's Umu. Especially because I'm just very bad at leading the explosive jelly explosions to Umu to deal the damage. Okay. Though, if I can get through Umu with a little bit more health than I did last time, I think I'd probably consider that a win. That was quite terrible. That technically counts as more health than I had coming out of Umu last time. Yeah, that technically counts as more health than I had going into this fight. Which this is where my last attempt ended. Yeah, Dream Nail as it arises and not start in a corner probably would help. I need to double jump over Flying Nosk. Yeah, I need to double jump over Flying Nosk. Okay. That will help me significantly, having figured that out. Yeah, knowing that I need to double jump over to get over Flying Nosk is immensely helpful. A single jump is not high enough. That's new. That was a new attack. That's problematic. Can I get a heal off? I can get a heal off when they're gonna throw out that attack. Okay. I am surviving against Flying Nosk better than I did last time. That landed right on top of me. Okay, do I want to... How much health does Flying Nosk, or Winged Nosk? They're called Winged and Not Flying. How health do they have? Other than just a lot. Like, they have a lot of health. That's for sure. So granted, I'm also not attacking them very fast. Honestly, that wasn't terrible. I did have to learn that I had to double jump over Nosk. You go straight into Sly, who I am not consistent at. Yeah, I am not consistent at Sly. Yeah, I am nowhere close to a consistent at beating Sly. So this is probably where this attempt ends. And I'm guessing that doesn't reset my charms either. Honestly, I don't think I necessarily mind this charm loadout. Yeah, when I waited to fight Sly. I do remember that. That is probably going to be where I'm going to call today's set of attempts, though. I was only playing the stream for like 2 hours today, but I went for 3. That was surprisingly difficult. Though that gave me that gave me some pretty good progress. Yeah, that was some pretty good progress, because we actually got to 112% completion. Which feels very, very good to have this Pantheon done. And to have both Winged Nosk, Sisters of Battle, Sly... Basically, almost everything unlocked in Hall of Gods for practice. Because, I mean, I have not beaten very much of Hall of Gods. On more than, like, the base difficulty. Where can you unlock that hole in the roof? I think that's it. I unlocked it after I beat or Pantheon 4. Yeah, Sly doesn't even have a bench after him. Because I need to practice War Armada, I need to practice Watcher Knights. Slooper's annoying. I need to practice Sly, Zero, Markoth. It's quite a few. Pantheon 4. Because yeah, there's 5 Pantheons. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. But yeah, that went surprisingly well. And also, outside of the fact that the stream chat on box in the stream itself isn't working, and I know exactly how to fix that. That worked. That went well. So yeah, that was a fun stream today. There will definitely be more Pantheon 5 attempts at some point. I want to beat Pantheon 5. Probably a Steel Soul run at some point, another randomizer at some point. I have no idea what next week's stream schedule is going to be yet. It's going to be something, though. Next week sometime. Yeah, 4 has NKG. Yeah, that would be... I need to practice NKG. And Pure Vessel. Yeah, there will be more Mio probably next week sometime. Things mostly worked for first stream of the on my new computer that I had to get because my old one fried itself last week. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe so that the YouTube algorithm doesn't banish me to the Shadow Realm for all eternity, because it likes to do that. It really likes to do that, especially nowadays. And have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.